Hey, you awesome folks. Thanks for taking this journey of discovery with your guide, Keith Haney. You're listening to the Becoming Bridge Builders podcast, your favorite podcast for everything from racial reconciliation to education innovation, justice reform, and leading change in the 21st century. This podcast is for people who love to be challenged with difficult topics, but want practical solutions to solve these challenging issues. Becoming Bridge Builders makes change possible. Each week on the podcast, Keith invites innovative thought leaders to share how they are building bridges in their area of expertise. You will hear breakthrough ideas and concepts that are changing the world. He's featuring guests who are best-selling authors, leaders at Microsoft, entrepreneurs, leading educators, professors, lawyers, and so many more. Listen in to learn how you can be the bridge to the change you are seeking.
My guest today is Gowder. He's the owner and founder of powwowscom, the leading online community celebrating Native American arts and culture for the past 25 years. They do so by combining community building and marketing strategies. Paul says he's been able to build one of the largest and most engaged online communities in the world while working full-time. Now he'd like to share his knowledge with you so that you can scale a business that supports your lifestyle. Whether your dream is to finally book that Disney cruise vacation to Tahiti on a Tuesday, or have an extra middle of the time day for you and your family, creating an international business makes your desired lifestyle possible. We welcome Paul to this podcast. Well, it's so good to have Paul on the podcast. How you doing today, Paul?
I'm great. Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, I'm glad to have you on. I'd love to talk about this conversation. I'd love to grow my community, my sphere of influence, and I'm sure a lot of people listening too. Hey, how do I do that? So looking forward to how you're going to help us learn to do that.
I love talking about community. I think it's so important right now, especially with all the algorithms and craziness on social media. I think building a community is very important for your business.
And also for just your influence. I know a lot of people who do blogs and podcasts, right, and a lot of congregations listen to this too. So how do they connect with their community? So I'm looking forward to how you can give us some advice on that. But yeah, I'm going to start with something very different, but kind of get to know you a little bit better. So what's the best piece of advice you've ever received?
Oh, I've had so many. I mean, the first thing I want to, I guess, is somebody, and this has been probably 5-7 years ago, recommended joining a mastermind. And that probably had a bigger impact on my business than I ever thought. And so, I want to tell people, especially solo entrepreneurs and people you're working at your house, maybe a remote job, you're not alone. And if you can find your group, the people that will hold you accountable, the people to bounce ideas off, having supportive family is great, but having other entrepreneurs that you can talk to has been so crucial for my business, especially the last 5-6 years.
So I've gotten those emails. So tell us a little bit about what that is, because I've seen it and I've kind of gone, and you just delete it because it's like somebody's trying to sell me something.
Yeah. So, I mean, there are a variety of masterminds out there. There's a lot of people offering paid masterminds, and a friend of mine and I, we're actually looking at doing that ourselves and starting one. But there are other ones you can do just with a group of entrepreneurs, and I have one of those now too. It's just 3 of us that are friends, and we meet every Friday morning, and we can, we built that trust up so we can, talk openly about our businesses. But initially, I did join one of the paid masterminds, and it was with somebody that I had been following for a long time. I knew and trusted what he was doing, so I knew it would be a good fit. So I think that's really important. You got to find that right person, that right group, and sometimes if you need to invest that money, I think it's a valuable thing to do, and I got a lot more out of it than what I paid for. So I was very happy with it.
Well, thanks for that. I know people may be going, "What is that?" I've heard about that, but I'm glad you kind of explained it. So that's cool.
Yeah, and what we did, I mean, the paid one, I mean, how most of them work is we met every week on Zoom, and we would each have a turn at discussing our businesses, discussing what worked this week, what didn't. But more importantly, it was those, the next week, if I said I was going to work on something last week, next week, that group was going to ask me, how did that go? Did you get it done? And, that's hard to finish those to-do lists and get it done. And to have that group that kind of holds you accountable, but also says, oh, if you didn't get it done, how can we help? What do you need? What can we do to move you to that next step? But it's been huge for me.
That's awesome, Paul. Thanks. I love to give my guests an opportunity to kind of think about the people in their lives who've been a blessing and impacted them, maybe inspired them. Who are some people in your life that you can look to and say, hey, I just want to give you a shout out because you have been there for me. You've inspired me. You've been a go-to for me.
That number one, my wife, Kelly. I started this whole website community building journey while we were dating. So she has been there every step of the way. I always tell people she's kind of the conscious. Her favorite Disney character is Jiminy Cricket, and I kind of feel like she's that Jiminy Cricket for me, sitting on my shoulder a lot. Way back in 1996, she was the one that told me to spend the $75 to buy the domain name, that it was a great investment, even though I was a college student with not a lot of money. She's the one that, and like I said, mastermind has been really important, but she's the one that's always in my corner, always supportive. And at times will tell me, no, let's not do that. That's a bad idea. Yeah. So it is huge to have somebody like her, right there with me the whole time.
That's awesome. Great way to send a shout out to your wife there.
Yeah.
I'm curious, Paul, everybody has a unique journey. So tell us your journey and tell me the lessons you learned on that path.
So I like to tell people I'm an accidental entrepreneur. I did not start this out like building, how can I build a big business, right? And my journey was, I was in graduate school and I wanted to teach myself web pages. I always loved tinkering with computers. And so when the whole web came out, I was like, this would be kind of fun to do. So I built pages about things that I knew about. You can see there, I've got a Mandalorian helmet here, and there's some other Star Wars stuff back there. So I built a page about Star Wars toy collecting. And I poured a lot of energy and love into that. Nobody cared. But at the same time, I was just learning about powwows, and I had a group of friends that were, taking me to powwows and teaching me how to make my first outfits and all that kind of thing. And same thing, I was like, oh, I can build some pages about this, and I had some, I was taking pictures and those kind of things. I was like, oh, these are great pictures. Let me put some of these up and I can tell people what I've learned. Never expected anybody to read those. But there were other people out there that were going to powwows and wanted to take that sense of belonging and community that they felt at a powwow and have it all the time, not just on the weekend powwows. And so it resonated with people, and, we started that community feeling early on. And, talking about lessons I've learned, I have to keep reminding myself all the time, but community is always the most important part. It is, serving the people, giving them value, however it is, treating everybody who touches your business and however they touch it, not just in a Facebook group, but however they touch it, is they are part of your community. And when you treat them like that and you are open and vulnerable and talk to them, person, not just from the brand, I think you can make those connections, and that is what will really move you forward.
I love it. So let's talk about why you started powwow, and give us some background into the name. Why powwow?
So powwows are Native American celebrations. They happen every weekend across the United States and Canada. Our calendar, and we know we don't have all of them, but we list as many as we can. We list probably 1,100 a year. So powwows are happening all over the place, and it's just a way of celebrating. And so it's a festival. There's dancing, singing, there's arts and crafts and food. And so that was why I named it powwows.com, because that's where we started. We've kind of grown a little bit just outside of not just powwows, but we talk all parts of Native American culture now. And we really want to help everybody, whether you're Native American or not, or, you have a distant relative or whatever it is. If you want to know more, we want to be that place for you to come, learn, explore, experience Native American culture. And we want to be that kind of bridge to help you get there.
Love it. You talked about the importance of community. And before we got on, we just kind of briefly talked about how, especially with the way our life and our culture is becoming now, how critical community is. So just tell us a little bit about, what do you hope to build with community? So, I was at a conference this weekend, and we talked a lot about community in all the sessions. Community to me is just
a group of people that feel a connection, feel some kind of belonging because they share ideals and beliefs. So community, you can touch people in your community through a lot of ways. One of the main things I like to teach people and I focus on is email. Building an email list and using that as part of your community can be incredible, right? So community to me is that it's making those connections, making everybody feel like they are part of something bigger, and then providing them value for that, right? And so what we try to do at powwows.com is, one, answer the questions that people are wanting, deliver them something that they may enjoy or they want to learn more about, and then hearing from them and trying to, continue to serve those needs. And I think my kind of goal behind that is, if we can do that, if we can educate more people about Native culture, then we can help Native people rise up and elevate, whether it's, supporting businesses or bringing more people to powwows or whatever it is. The more people we can expose to the culture and help them understand and learn about it, then we can elevate everybody.
I love that. So I'm a podcaster and I have a couple of social media platforms. The question right. I have, I'm sure a lot of people have who have those resources and even the content is, how do you build an online community?
I think the first thing is what I was saying. You treat everybody who touches your whole business ecosystem as part of your community, whether that is on a podcast, talking to them one-on-one. You hear so many people now, they start their podcasts as, hey, everybody, thanks for listening. Talk directly, hey, friend, how are you? It's so great for you to be here again. When you can make those one-on-one connections, people feel a part of it, right? Same thing in email. I open every email with something personal and talk directly to people. It's having those conversations. And more importantly, especially when you're first starting out, when you get those replies and when you get that feedback, you got to answer them. You got to open those conversations and really engage with them. It doesn't matter if you're a podcaster and you're getting 2 downloads a month. That's 2 people that are sitting in their living room listening to you. And if you had 2 people sitting in your living room, you'd be excited and want to talk to them, right? So that's how you should be engaging with them in your podcast. And when they answer you, when they give you feedback or review, you got, make that connection, talk to them.
I love that. So I've seen a lot of, I've gone to different places that here's ways to kind of get more and more followers, do giveaways. So
yes.
Tell us how giveaways can help grow your business.
I love using giveaways. Now, there are a lot of people that are against giveaways and kind of don't like them. So let me tell you a few ways we do it at powwows.com. First, we offer prizes that our community is going to like. And we partner, in fact, I think I have one right here. We partner with a couple of companies, one being 8th Generation, and we give away Native American made. You can see there's the picture of the artist right there that designed it. We give away Native American made blankets. Now, other people outside of our community may like that, but they're probably not going to go through a lot of effort to join our things because this is very specific to our community. So I do that. Then I use several different softwares that will, in the process of the giveaway, of course, they give me their email address. That's the first step. But then you can add tasks of other things they can do. So I do that, one, of course, you get people more visits to the website or whatever. But I also try to make sure that I'm highlighting in there some content that I want them to go and see and focus on, right? So whether it's, if you're trying to build your YouTube, or if you have a couple of really cornerstone pieces of content that you've created lately, send people to that. If there's like one of the ones we always put in our giveaways that we want people to visit is we have a page on all the powwows, powwows divided by states and provinces in Canada. So we always put that one there because that's one of the number one questions we get is, how do I find a powwow in my state? So I send people to that page as part of the giveaway. So doing those kind of things can be huge. And experiment, try different things. Was it 2 months ago, I tried a different type of giveaway I'd never done before, where, the little spin the wheel thing and you instantly win a prize. I didn't think it was going to work. I didn't think my users would like it, but they went nuts over it, right? People sat there all day and tried to win those prizes because you can keep spinning, right? So that was really fun. So experiment, do different things, see what resonates with your community, and then just use it. I've been doing giveaways for a couple of years now, and we do one. There's one going on every month. Some of them are 2 or 3 months long. Some of them are just a month long, but we always have a giveaway going.
Oh, that's cool. So if I join powwows.com, is there some guidance there to teach me how to do these great things you just talked about? Because I hear this, I'm going, I want to do this, but don't feel like I'm quite ready yet to jump in and do that. So is there some guidelines you got for us?
So if you'll head over to paulgowder.com, I do have a course on giveaways. I'd love to talk to you more about that. So I do have that, as well as some other ways you can, I'll help you build your email list or really level it up. So yeah, we have some of that there. That's the best way to really get your giveaway going. I'm working on some videos and blog posts too about some tips and tricks to it. So look for that coming soon.
That's great. Because I think so many people do have good content. And I go on a lot of podcast platforms. It's like, I just started my podcast and I got 3 followers. Should I just quit? They've been going at it for 6 months and they thought, I put all this time and effort into it and no one's listening. So if you're stuck like that, what advice do you have to get people's followings to grow?
So one of the things that here's something we talk about in the giveaways and in some of the other things I do is in your, it's very difficult whether you're on a Facebook group, a Facebook page, or in a podcast, is to get people off of those platforms into your ecosystem, right? And you want them on your email subscribe list. So for podcasters, I highly recommend putting something in your podcast that will encourage people to go back to your website and give you their email address, because then you can really engage with them, right? If they're not subscribed or if they miss an episode, you can still have that conversation with them. So a couple of things you can do is, of course, offer giveaways. That's one thing. 2, I know a friend of mine who does a trivia question in every podcast. And, if you want to be a part of the trivia game, you have to go to his website and put in the answer. So do those kind of things. Try to get people back into your ecosystem. As far as growing, again, I think it's really focusing on those one-on-one relationships, being authentic to who you are. And it can be really slow, right? It can be incredibly frustrating to put out podcast episodes and only have 5 listeners. But I think you just continue to serve the listeners you have, and the growth will come. You may not be Mr. Beast tomorrow, right? You may not have 100 million YouTube subscribers. But again, remember, if you had 5 people sitting in your house listening to you talk, you would be so excited. So serve the audience you have and continue to offer your authentic self, and it will grow. It just might take, you may take a long time, but you just continue to do that, engage with them, provide value, and there's of course there's techniques for growing. You want to repurpose your content on all the platforms and create short form videos and, use the TikTok and all those kind of things and put your content in as many places as you can, but just keep delivering value.
I love that. So I spend a lot of time making these beautiful emails that I think are just phenomenal, but nobody opens them. So how do you get people to actually read your emails?
Stay with us. We'll be right back.
And now a word from one of our sponsors, For Freedom Mobile. If you're using AT&T, Verizon, or T-Mobile, then you're being tracked. Mobile providers collect your location, communications, internet activity, even your financial transaction. They sell that data to anyone willing to pay for it and provide it to the government without a warrant. Switch to For Freedom Mobile, and you won't ever have to worry about big tech or Big Brother tracking you through your mobile phone again. For Freedom Mobile provides secure, unlimited talk, text, and high-speed data for just $29.99 a month, and it includes free internet roaming in over 200 countries. Sign up for the service by visiting forfreedommobile.com and using the promo code BridgeBuilders to get your first month for only $9.99. See forfreedommobile.com for details, just like the number 4, freedommobile.com.
So I think it's been about 4 years. since I completely redid my email strategy. I used to send emails that were gorgeous. I always tell people that they looked like the Sunday morning Best Buy sales ads. It had all this great layout. It had beautiful pictures and, all kinds of buttons and flashing stuff. And yeah, there was no engagement. Nobody read those, right? They looked great. And even if you open them, nobody clicked on it, right? So it was about 4 years ago, I signed up with a coach that did email, and we went through and totally revamped my email system. They are now text-based, maybe with 1 or 2 pictures in them or images, and simple call to actions. And I talk directly to people. I start conversations. I ask questions in my email. And when people, when I get a response, I answer them, right? That's the way, to me, that email can work best. The other tip I'll say is, as you start building your email strategies and thinking about that, if you can segment out, divide your audience into different sections, and deliver some email sequences or drip campaigns, or however your email software calls it. If you can create really specific set of emails for different groups, that will really, really help your audience engage with you better. Because again, you're delivering the content and the value that those people want. For example, I have an email sequence that is called What to Expect at Your First Powwow. The email opt-ins for that are on pages where people visit that are looking to learn more about powwows. These aren't the dancers and singers that go to powwows every weekend. These are people who are kind of outside the powwow world and wanting to learn more. And when I deliver that sequence to those people, the open rate and the click-through rate are through the roof, because again, I'm delivering the content they want. And I ask questions, I give them the information they want. Usually 1 call to action in the email, if any. It's just delivering really good value to that specific need.
I love that. I could talk to you all day, Paul, because I'm getting all this great advice here, and I'm going to re-listen to this podcast later on, so I can put all these things into practice. But I'm curious, as you're kind of in this season of your life, what are you most excited about?
Oh man! So years ago, because I just went full time with powwows.com and coaching and all those things I do. I was only able to do that just a couple of years ago. For the most part of my life, I worked in South Carolina state government and did all of this entrepreneur stuff on the side. So that was a goal I never thought I would reach. But over those years, when we were struggling to build the business, when we were, in the early days, when we were having to figure out that this needed to be a business because we had expenses and we had to figure out how to pay for those expenses, right? We had to, as a family, we had to answer, okay, if we're going to put in nights, weekends, lunch hours, before work, if we're going to put in all this time, why are we doing this? And for us, it was to create the lifestyle that we wanted. For us, that means travel. We do all this, and I've worked all these many side hustles, people call them, and continue to work many side hustles besides just, powwows.com. We have, multiple jobs still going on. And the reason we do that is because we want, as a family, to travel together. So that's still the things that get me excited. My daughter, she's in college now, but we plan fewer trips, but bigger trips. We try to plan, like this past summer, we did a 23-day trip together as a family. And so we're not able to go on those weekend trips as much because she's in college, but we still plan, and make sure that we do that together. So those are the things that still get me excited, right? We're big Disney people, and we go to Disney often. And so we're really excited too. My daughter starts her job at Disney World in January. So super excited about that, and to see her be able to, now take our family beliefs of travel and experience and making memories and create magic for other people. Can't wait to see that, right? I can't wait to see what that's going to be. This weekend, like I said, I was at a conference, and things that get me excited. Being at a conference, I got to speak and share some of the stuff I do, and seeing light bulbs go off, seeing their eyes light up when they finally made a connection that could help their business. And talking to people in the halls and having those conversations, those are the kind of things that get me really excited now. So that's what I'm going to start focusing on and doing more of.
So if I read the bio right, it's like 47 trips or so to Disney. It's probably more now, but that's what I saw somewhere.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a lot. We only live a few hours. It's like 7 hours to get to Disney for us, so we're able to drive. So and my wife's a travel agent, so we get specials sometimes for different trips. So, but like when my daughter was in elementary school and middle school, if there was a President's Day weekend or Labor Day weekend, we got in the car and we were gone, right? And we just head down. So that's how we had so many trips. But yeah, that was my daughter's goal was to hit 40 by the time she graduated high school, and we did it.
Wow. So I got to ask this question. What is your favorite Disney movie?
Okay. Well, I cheat. I cheat. And I'll always say Star Wars, A New Hope, but that is cheating. If you want to go classical Disney movie, it really depends on the day and what I've watched lately. Robin Hood is one of my favorite movies. Love that. Good classic animation. But I like some of the newer stuff too. Like I love Tangled. The music in that I think is fabulous. Encanto. I'm wearing an Encanto shirt today. I'm wearing my, we don't talk about Bruno shirt. Yeah. I mean, so it all depends on the day. And of course I'm a big Marvel fan too. So yeah. One of the things we love to do when we're on a Disney ship, because you can watch Disney movies in your stateroom. When we're in the stateroom, it's Marvel. We just turn on Infinity War or Endgame or any of those and just let it play while we're in the room doing stuff. So
love it. It depends on the music too. I mean, I love the music from Tarzan.
Yes.
So there's some great music and Pocahontas is underrated music too.
And I was I've actually been able to meet Irene Bedard, who did the voice of Pocahontas. Incredible performer.
Yeah, that's so cool. So Paul, I'm curious. Love to ask my guests this question. As you think about all you've accomplished, when this is all said and done, what do you want your legacy to be?
I hope that whenever I step away, and that what I leave behind is that I helped people make a connection to the culture. I hope that there are people out there that because of what we do on powwows.com, their life is better, whether that's, a vendor making more sales or powwow that gets more visitors, sells more tickets. I hope that we have leveled up, increased somebody's life in some way.
I love that. Is there anything I haven't asked you that we should cover?
Gosh, I don't know. We talked a lot, right? Well, I will say this. So for people out there listening that, like you, same thing as what are powwows? If you want to learn more about it, please come over to the website. powwows.com/powwows near me will get you to our calendar. Powwows are open to the public. They want you to come and watch it. That is how you can support your local tribes, your local Native organizations. Go to a powwow. There are, like I said, there are some happening every weekend. They're in all 50 states, almost all Canadian provinces. So there's one near you somewhere. Go find one and go out there and experience Native culture in person. It's incredible.
It's so funny you mentioned that because my son and I are doing history together, and we just studied the history of the Mishwaki tribe.
Okay.
Because we're in Iowa, and it's one of the few tribes that actually owns the property that they're on. And so they're a very proud group, and they have a college a high school they develop, and they have their own culture, and they do, like you said, talk about it. They invite you in. They just welcomed our Ragbride cycle riders through their town. So it's just really, you're right. It's a neat experience to be able to kind of come in and experience what that rich culture has to offer. So yeah.
Right. Yeah, and it is a complete cultural immersion because you're going to be surrounded by the food, all the arts and the jewelry and beadwork, and then also the singing and dancing. You're going to have the sounds of the bells and the drums and all of that. It is it can be overwhelming. So I highly recommend my What to Expect at Your First Powwow sequence. But but go out there. They are open to the public. They want you to come, and it is an amazing thing when you go to your first powwow.
That's great, Paul. So how can my listeners find you, connect with you on social media?
Yeah, please. I'd love to talk with you and help you level up your business. PaulGowder.com is my website. And of course, powwows.com is where you can learn all about native culture.
Well, Paul, thanks so much for this conversation. Blessings on what you do, and continue to dive into your Disney and get to that number you're looking for next.
Thank you so much. I appreciate the time.
Thanks for listening to Becoming Bridge Builder. If you enjoyed this episode and want to help support the podcast, please subscribe and share it with others. Post about it on social media or leave a rating and review. To catch all the latest from me, you can follow me on Instagram at bkeithhaney and on Getter and Twitter at RevHeadpin or on his website at alightbreaksthrough.org. Thanks again, and tune in next time.
Do you know that most entrepreneurs hit a revenue ceiling and have no idea why? They're working harder, spending more money, running more ads, but revenue stays flat. My friend Dr. Noah St. John calls this the invisible break. He's giving our listeners a free revenue ceiling audit to help you see what's really holding you back. You'll get a free 30-day membership to Noah Bot, giving you access to Dr. Noah's 30 years of experience to help you reach your next level. But hurry, because there's only 50 available this month. So if you're tired of being stuck at the same revenue level and want to finally break through, get your free revenue ceiling audit at drnoahvault.com in the affiliate link that'll be listed in the show notes.
Thanks for listening to Becoming Bridge Builder. If you enjoyed this episode and want to help support the podcast, please subscribe and share it with others. Post about it on social media or leave a rating and review. To catch all the latest from me, you can follow me on Instagram at bkeithhaney and on Getter and Twitter at RevHeadpin. Thanks again, and tune in next time.